golden good morning to everyone from Romford Inner Space in England. And the practice of soul consciousness, the practice of speaking as a soul, living as a soul in an embodied world where as soon as you wake up in the morning there's this connection with the outside world, and there needs to be that connection with the outside world, but the practice is one in which we remain connected to our inner world, so that the actual soul, the self, the tiny subtle being of light that is using the body doesn't get caught up with its sense organs too much. So the eyes, in India it says, see but not see. So although we're seeing the things of the outside world, we're actually practicing not seeing it. That means not getting so involved in it that all the emotions create a lot of negativity. Because the emotions that we have within us, the negative emotions, we want to transform those negative emotions. We don't want to add to them, because by adding to them it increases our negative karma. So that means that negative things happen to us because we're expanding and increasing negative emotions. So when we act on negative emotions, then it becomes our karma, because karma means action. And so when we react to what other people are doing because we're caught up with what we're seeing, then there's more negativity goes in, and we feel like the world is in control, the external is in control. That's why we say to people that you've given me this problem, you've caused me stress, you've caused me anxiety, or in some cases people even say to others, you spoilt my life. And in reality it can only be spoiled when we get caught up, which is a very extrovert state. Is very much connected to the role that the soul's playing, and to develop the power to withdraw while you're moving, while you're talking, while you're living in the outside world, means you're well protected from anyone invading your inner space or affecting you in a negative way. So we still have to live in this world. In India there are people called sannyasis, and they choose to leave the family, leave the home and hearth, and go out to the forests and the jungles to meditate. And even so, they could still be disturbed by the pull of their mind towards the people they've left behind, the wealth they've left behind, the property they've left behind, because all these things need to be corrected, and you can only correct those in the physical, material world. It's kind of like instead of thinking of problems as problems, look on them as opportunities to exercise virtues. So you have tolerance inside, you've proved that you have tolerance inside, but maybe not tolerance for everything where it needs to be exercised. You have patience within you, but not necessarily patient in everything. So we become a patient because of our lack of patience. And so we've got our own National Health Service going on with we want more patience, whereas the National Health Service are trying to reduce their stock of patients. So we are the National Health Service that is accumulating a lot more patients, and that means that the physical body will also be more patient as well. That will have an effect on all the chemical processes that take place within the physical body, so you'll have a double sense of well-being. So when we need to be caring is a good thing, but also we need to be carefree. So that means that we are not worried anymore, not fearful anymore, not doubting the self anymore, because when you go inside to yourself and become caught up in the wonder of the soul, the wonder of your own inner beauty. Remember, you have 36 virtues inside of you. They're always there, no matter how much impatience and intolerance has been shown, no matter how much depression and trauma has taken place. Your true nature has a deep connection with your virtues. And so when you're connected with yourself as the being playing the role through the body, you're stepping back, you're withdrawing into a place of safety where nothing can affect you. When you're very extrovert or careless, then you would be caught up in the conversations that go. The interesting thing about the chatterbox of the mind is that it's because of this mouth went out of control that it developed the chatterbox of the mind. There's a direct connection between the chatterbox of the mind and the chatterbox of the mouth. When we haven't actually got our own key to our own chatterbox, other people have our key, and when they open our chatter by their key, then our chatter starts, and you want to actually reduce the energy that's being wasted in the mind through reducing the amount of times we open the chatterbox of other people's minds and they open our chatterbox. So in a sense, we're not doing ourselves any favour when we bring up many subjects which don't need to be brought up, because the aim is to accumulate power, accumulate energy, so that there can be a realization take place of the energy that you've got in a powerful stock or might house of power. So you're wasting less energy on talking too much, speaking loudly, and speaking wastefully is basically filling other people's dustbins with rubbish. So we don't want to have our dustbins filled with rubbish, nor do we want to fill other people's dustbins with rubbish. So therefore we choose to centre ourselves, basically, and you can only do that when you're introspective, when you're actually taking care, you're the inspector, and you're taking care of how much wastage there is, and knowing when you got caught up. Very often people realise they've been caught up into something after an argument has played out for a long period of time, and this constant game of tennis where we throw the ball backwards and forwards or bat the ball backwards and forwards to them, and this constant ego clashing that goes on between people is basically a waste of time, because the ego is so powerful that it forgets what the person was arguing about and just gets caught up in proving themselves to be right. And you can only feel right when you feel right, and that means you've got to go inside and start to connect. You've got to disconnect and reconnect with your true, innate, beautiful, powerful self, and that's the soul. The soul's been needing this. Basically, it's no one's fault. No one's to blame for whatever's going on, because it's just a drama that's been playing out, and everyone's been playing their role the way they've meant to have played their role. We also played our role the way we were meant to. So forget about the guilt from the past, because you were meant to do all the things that you did. You were meant to say all the things that you said. Past is past. Others were meant to do everything that they did and say everything that they were meant to say. So it's just that they were influenced by their role and also the negativity inside, and that's why harsh words are spoken and sorrow is given, and also sorrow is accepted, because the path of sorrow is that people give sorrow, but they also take sorrow. So another person may be giving sorrow, but then it's our choice whether to take it or not. If we're introspective, we'll be very much aware that this person is giving something that they don't want. They've got sorrow, so they're trying to give it away, and I don't actually want it. I don't want that rubbish, so I'm not accepting it. And you'll remain in touch with your true self, because that energy as a habit that was used to take sorrow and also give sorrow, the tennis game of giving and taking sorrow, is taking place very much in the world today. And by 9 o'clock in the morning it will be even more so, because that's when the rat race starts, where lots of rats try to decide to choose to join this rat race, and you don't have to join it if you don't want to, because you can have the connection with yourself as light, and that light itself is peace, full of peace, a powerful form of peace. Whenever you go inside, away from the world outside, have a lot of faith in that the soul is peace, that I, the soul, am the embodiment of peace, Shanti Swarup, which means the embodiment of peace in Hindi. So start to go inside yourself, and you can touch that whenever you want. You just have to separate yourself from your physical body within and touch what we call the core of your being. So all the negative traits that we've developed, all the negative aspects of our persona or personality, which creates our presence, is actually on the surface. The deep unconscious is where the true nature of the self lies, and it will always keep signaling the soul, the self, to be peaceful, be loveful, be happy. But very often we take those signals as our search for love, our search for peace, and our search for happiness. Those three main commodities are our true nature. And you have to start with peace, because the mind has become peaceless as soon as it starts to do the housework, as soon as it goes to the job. All these words that we use, housework means the mind's working, job means the mind's very much under the arduous feelings of the workload of a job. And we want to change. It's better if we didn't use the word jobs, if we use the word joys instead. I'm going to not work, but I'm going to play, because this is just the field of play. basically, where whatever you do, it must be in the form of you're going to play, you're going to do this joy rather than this job. So there's no heavy feeling or heavy atmosphere being created in the soul, because that's where your energy is going. Sometimes before you even do the work, there's this atmosphere that's created which is already using up a lot of precious energy, because you want to bring all these energies, all these negative energies, you want to bring them into this source point. So you're doing everything from here and expressing peace, expressing happiness, joy, expressing love through what you do. And that becomes your karma. Karma means action. And when that's under the influence of your action, there's a good reward or a good return on that. The reason why people are so unhappy is because they're getting the return of what they've been, what their output have been. So their output is very often because of their input as well, where they associate things to be difficult, things to be hard. So try not to use these words that create pressure on your, and create an atmosphere in your own mind of peacelessness. You want to get away from even the feeling of doing hard work, hard labour. Sorry to use these words, but I have to use these words to explain. But I've practiced over the years to not have these thoughts of this is my job, I don't like my job, all these words that we use. I don't like this, I don't like that about my work, this is a problem. All this is expanding everything. And when you expand something, the mind thinks it's important, and the mind is only the inner child doing what you're telling it to do, really. Feel the pressure, realize how arduous something is. I've got a really difficult moment coming up in my life. I've got a really stressful situation coming up. Forget all of these things, because you're promoting them in advance, and you're sending out signals to the future as well, so that that comes to meet and greet me when I arrive there. But nothing is as important as we believe it to be, because it gets imported. And when we think of things as too important, so important, very important, we use all these words to exaggerate a certain feeling because we believe it to be true, which no one to blame for. But in reality, nothing that is going to happen today is important. Even if there's a tsunami, you've got to start to temper everything down so that your own temper has anger removed from it, so your temperature remains cool. So a tsunami is a bigger event than what people are going to face today, but they're making the little events like a tsunami. Try to make everything that you believe to be big small, and you'll get your power restored. So this is about the wonder of the soul. It's part 2 of the abilities of the soul, how it's able to recognize the benefits of everything that happens in life. Search for the benefit. Don't wait for the benefit, but search the benefit out, so you start to get a positive outlook and a positive attitude. Those two things, a positive outlook and a positive attitude, create a positive vibration. That vibration fills the whole of your body, and other people experience that pure peace, pure power, pure positive energy, and the atmosphere in the homestead begins to change. And this is basically what the people that renounced the home, they didn't really know how to live a life as a lotus. A lotus is something that's untouched by everything that goes on in the outside world, and they didn't develop this stunning art because they didn't know how to develop the art of living with people but without being influenced by people, because you're under the influence of yourself. And that's a good thing, you being influenced by your own self, as long as it's the true you and not the you that you've acquired, because you might not believe in the you that you've acquired, which is the identity of the role, identification with the role. But actually, you can handle anything. And as soon as you go inside and experience yourself to be the light, the immortal, the eternal, that's using the physical body, your immortality starts to work. Your immortality is impregnable. It's just that it needs connecting to the immortal self rather than the mortal self. The mortal self isn't invincible. It's always nervous. It's always tentative. It's always apprehensive. But the immortal self, the true immortal self, is full of confidence, energy and power. Shift your consciousness away from the name and form of your body and start to feel at one and have faith in being felt that you're in a unified state with your true self, and your eyes will start to ignite, start to light up. The eyes have it, basically. They tell many stories, the eyes, of sadness and trauma and also love. And so your communication is to get rid of all the past vestiges of negativity, and really it all starts with now, and it will only be in the now. The past is only important if you make it important in the now, in this present time. So the present is probably why it's called a present, a gift, because everything is functioning in the present. You can't function in the past. You can remember the past, you can relive memories of the past, but that will always be in the present. If there's no presence of it, then it's not being made a gift to us, because we don't want those types of negative gifts. Don't think that the past is very powerful. Nothing's more powerful than the present, because we always live moment to moment. We never helped ourselves really when man made time, because he created a yesterday and tomorrow and next week and last week. In 10 years' time, and in the 10 years that have passed, it's been this kind of life for me. So we never really helped ourselves with this three aspects of time. But the three aspects of time, really, the past, present and the future, is that what you're creating now is important to stop the power of the past and stop the future being corrupted as well. So this is part 2 of the Wonder of the Soul. Try to see the benefit in anything. Find a benefit. Look for the silver lining. Look what can be achieved with this positive outlook, and colour it different, because it's the picture that you paint that's important. And if you paint a negative picture, then you start to become negative as a habit. So even when there's good luck coming your way, you won't believe it's going to last very long. So good and bad luck are relative, really. If you feel good inside, you'll feel lucky, so you won't really need good luck to follow you. If you don't feel good inside, you'll have to rely on luck. And if you're relying on luck, there's a good chance that when bad luck comes along, you won't handle it very well because you don't feel good already. So the way that your outlook will be of a negative attitude, because the way we settle accounts with a positive outlook and deal with everything with happiness, with a light outlook, making everything very much less than it actually appears to be, because it is less than it appears to be. And we settle these accounts with a positive attitude, or through suffering. Karmic accounts of the past are settled with sorrow in many people's lives, and so they live in this way. Like, that's kind of understanding half of karma, really. Like, a person will say, I've got this bondage and I've got to live with this bondage. So they live in misery, basically, because they believe it to be their karmic account, but they can change their attitude to their karmic account and settle the account 100 times quicker, because the people that you live around, whether they're negative, it needs a positive outlook for change to take place. So nothing changes with negativity. It just continues to increase and intensify the misery. So when you've got a happy outlook, because there's a lot of happiness when accounts are finishing, because it's the end of those accounts. And if anyone is on the last payment of their mortgage, it might be the same as they've paid for 25, 30 years, but it's the last one. So it's important, and you'll very quickly finish the accounts, because the karmic accounts aren't as powerful as the bondage of them, which means the mind's tied in a negative outlook towards them. So just look on your accounts as something that you're passing through. Bring power to the present in this way, and then the present becomes a gift. So let things go quicker as well. When they come, allow them to pass rather than react to them with a negative way. So this will show how wonderful you are when you actually see what you're capable of, by being caught in the wonder of the energy that you've got inside of you. Because it is just reorganizing your armies, really. Your armies filled with energy, it's bringing them home again. They've been scattered in many things, in many desires, in many beliefs that success is in the outside world. You're bringing all those to create home rule again. So in a sense, you're bringing all your energies from abroad to home again, and creating a state of self-sovereignty. Main thing is to have a very positive attitude towards everything, a positive outlook, and all of a sudden your presence will be filled. Whatever's happening is meant to happen. The job you do is for service only. You're there for service, to bring your good qualities to the surface. It doesn't matter whether it's as a homemaker in our homes or whether you're in an office. You're actually there for service, and that's to bring your qualities into the office, to be aware of your qualities. And even though everyone is bickering and the egos are clashing and what takes place is very negative, but remain connected to your pure positive self, your true nature. So Om Shanti, and have a lovely day, and we'll finish with some meditation. So turn within, become introspective, and become aware of yourself as the player of the role. The role has been playing you, but now the true you, which is peace, light, energy, is controlling your show. From within, see yourself as a walking, talking light and might house. See yourself when everyone's arguing, creating peacelessness all around. You are the one who is bringing light into the room, into the equation. You are the ingredient that was missing. Forget the name and form, other people's names and forms, and be aware of yourselves as little lights. Yours is ignited, theirs is becoming ignited. They have been waiting for you to ignite their lights. One candle can light 100. Just keep your light, keep your lightness in your attitude, keep your lightness in your outlook, keep the lightness of your presence present and available to all. Wherever you are, become aware that you are an instrument for the good to emerge from inside to out. Wherever you are, let it be known to yourself that you are a spreader of light. Think yourself to be a spreader of light. Light is radiating from your eyes like a searchlight, like a tower of light. And whoever you look at, let there be the awareness that you are filling others with your light. Let this incognito service be powerful, because incognito service is the greatest service that you can render. Let your light be lit, and if you become too involved in the external forces of this world. Simply forgive yourself, let go, and reconnect. If it switches off, then switch it on. Your light needs to be rekindled again and again and again. And one day soon, very soon, the light will not be affected by the darkness. Om Shanti.